My name's Dr. Rick Peterson, and I'm one of the lecturers in Archaeology and Anthropology in the University of Central Lancashire. And during this talk, we're going to look at the disciplines of archaeology and anthropology, think about why people choose to study them at all, and we're also going to look at some of the reasons why you want to come and study them here at UCLan. I'm going to introduce you to my colleagues, the people who teach the degree, and also look at some of the careers and other postgraduate courses that a qualification in archaeology and anthropology might lead you on to. I'm going to look at some of the facilities we have, and also we'll talk a little bit about what our current students are up to and what our graduates go on to do. Archaeology can be simply defined as the study of the human past, looking at material remains, which could be anything from a whole huge building or to just individual scraps of evidence left in the ground. But the great joy of archaeology is the fact that it's such a wide-ranging subject. So it brings in lots and lots of elements of sciences. It also brings in lots of approaches from the humanities and the social sciences. It's about landscapes as well as individual sites and individual objects. And it's about understanding the lives of past people in detail. It's also tremendous fun, whatever kind of conditions you finish up doing it in. Anthropology can also be defined quite broadly as the study of people, of humans in the modern world. And it draws on both studying the physical nature of humans, their bodies, but also how they organize themselves in different societies around the world. So again, like archaeology, it's something which is both a science, has a very, very scientific element to it, but it can have lots of social science elements, lots of interpretive elements that draw on humanities subjects. Again, like archaeology, its primary focus is understanding people's lives. And again, like archaeology, it's great fun. And the advantage to both these disciplines and why they fit together so well is that their broad-ranging nature means that people from a wide range of academic backgrounds at college can do well in them. So we have students who come from very, very much pure science backgrounds, we have students who come from pure arts or humanities backgrounds, and they all find areas of the discipline to study and areas of the discipline that they can make a real contribution to. So why come to UCLan to study archaeology and anthropology? We are one of only 8 departments in the country who have been accredited by University Archaeology UK and the Chartered Institute for Archaeologists, which means that our degrees have a professional recognition as well as an academic recognition. And we got this accolade because the degrees that we run are very practical as well as very academic. They draw on our own research. They're also very fieldwork intensive. There's an awful lot of time spent working outside, working with people, getting a sense of the practical skills necessary to study both these disciplines. We have other advantages because we're quite a small department. Then we've got a good friendly atmosphere between the staff and the relatively small number of students. It means that we've got good staff-student ratios in most of our lectures. So we're talking about average lecture sizes of around 20 students, which means that you're always a known person rather than just one face among many. And we also have maintained over the years we've been teaching at UCLan, we've maintained and built up some really, really good links to lots of professional organisations, lots of employer organisations in the field. I'd like to introduce you to our core teaching team. All the people on this slide are involved in lots of the teaching on archaeology and anthropology degree. Each of us has our own specialism, but we're all interested in areas of archaeology and either physical anthropology or cultural anthropology. If you want more details about what individual staff members do, you can look them up on the UCLan website and see a big list of all their research projects and interests. In the next section of this presentation, I want to just show you a little bit about what our students do on the degree, both in terms of the names of the actual modules that they study, but also a little bit about how we teach, how we assess students, and the kind of opportunities that are available to them. This is the degree structure for our 3-year BSc degree in archaeology, which is our single honours programme. And you can see that it's split across the 3 years, and we have a mixture of compulsory modules, which give you the background that we think you need, the skills you think you need to follow the subject all the way through, and a number of optional modules to allow you to explore your own interests. You'll also see that as we go through the programme, the modules become more specialist, more focused. So in the first year, we're talking about general introductions to most of the areas within the discipline. And then in the second year, we're getting a bit more depth. And in the third year, we're talking about people being able to design their own research as part of dissertation modules and looking at things in real depth. We also, in common with all of our programs in archaeology and anthropology, have a field component that runs right the way through. And this starts in the very first week on campus, where we get all our archaeology and anthropology students together on the campus dig site in Brook Street in Preston, and we spend a week learning about basic field techniques together, which makes a really good social introduction to the whole degree. And that is built on in between first and second year, when we do a 4-week excavation placement for archaeology students, which could be on an excavation either in this country or abroad. And that again built on between second and third year, when we do another 4-week excavation placement. These are key parts of how we teach archaeology. All of our degree programs share quite a lot of modules in common. So you'll see when we look at the degree structures in the following slides, there's a lot of these modules overlap with each other. But what makes the degrees different is the emphasis we place within them. So with BSc Archaeology, then there's quite a strong emphasis on the practical skills and on also learning a wide range of different archaeological periods and backgrounds. This is the degree structure for our 4-year integrated master's degree in archaeology, what we call an MSci in archaeology. And this follows the same structure, exactly the same structure as the 3-year BSc degree, but with an additional 4th year, which allows students to work at master's level. Now, the advantage to this over a conventional standalone masters is the element of continuity. So students don't graduate at the end of their 3rd year, they move on into the 4th year still as undergraduate students, therefore still eligible for the undergraduate student loans and all those kinds of things. And you'll see that in the 4th year we have a defined program, so all the modules are set as compulsory modules, but the modules themselves are designed to allow students to explore their own interests. And there's a large master's level dissertation, triple module dissertation, equivalent to what you would do on a standalone master's, and 3 support modules. Field Archaeology 4, where we'll build on the large amount of field experience you would have by this stage of the degree to allow you to start supervising other students and getting some experience of managing research projects in the field. Research methods in archaeology, which builds on stuff we've done earlier, but allows you to look at things like statistics and how you would analyze data in great detail. And then approaches to archaeology, which thinks about the higher level interpretive questions that studying the past requires us to understand, things about how human societies worked in the past. The 3rd degree programme that we offer is a joint honours programme in archaeology and anthropology, and this covers the 3 closely related fields of archaeology: physical anthropology, science of human bones, and cultural anthropology, the social science of understanding how different societies around the world work. And again, you can see the way that this structure builds. And you can see as well that the key difference between the joint honours degree and the 2 single honours degrees in archaeology is that for the archaeology and anthropology students, then the modules in anthropology are a core part of their. And you also see that some of the additional practical archaeology modules like Field Archaeology 3 are only options for archaeology and anthropology students, whereas they are compulsory for archaeologists. However, looking at a chart of modules, as we have just been doing, while it's very good for understanding the structure of the degree, doesn't necessarily explain very much about how your experience is going to be when you're here. So I thought we'd look at some of the things that our students do and explain why they do them. So fieldwork training often takes place in residential placements away from Preston, although some of it takes place on campus, on the on-campus training site, and some of it takes place on day trips as well. But we do this because it's really important, we think, in terms of employability, that students have really good technical skills when they graduate, that they understand the processes of gathering data and evidence in the field. It also gives you a really good detailed knowledge of the kind of sites and artifacts that you work on. It involves really good transferable skills around team working and personal growth, helps you understand where your evidence comes from when you're thinking about research in things like dissertations, and most importantly of all, it's fun. The practical emphasis doesn't stop when we come off fieldwork placement. We keep hands-on stuff going through all the different kinds of labs, whether that's human bone, animal bone, soil science, all the other kinds of skills that focus into the thing, looking at archaeological materials as well. So we're keen to make sure that the degree is as hands-on as possible. As you'd expect at university, you will spend a lot of time in lecture theatres listening to us, and we do this so that we are able to pass on our subject specialist knowledge, which is hopefully both up to date and informed by our research. It allows us to introduce you to all the key ideas and give you a framework for all the reading we want you to do that supports all the practical and seminar-based learning as well. We also like to hear you talk as well. We like to stage seminars and debates, and we like to get students to give presentations. And a lot of our assessment in third year particularly is presentation based, because this allows you to provide an in-depth analysis of key topics. But it's also really important from a personal development point of view. It allows you to showcase your individual research and get confident with communicating it verbally as well as in writing, which is another important skill from the employability point of view. This brings us to the important question of assessment, and our assignments are all based on a number of important principles. First of all, we think it's really important that they are realistic and that they are providing you with a test of the skills that you're actually going to need in the real world. So that's why, for example, we much prefer presentations to exams. We also think it's really important to develop your communication skills. So we build up structured support with your written communication and your verbal communication, starting things off simple in the first year and getting more complex as we go through the degree. Most of the assessment on this degree is coursework. I think at the moment there are 2 exams on 2 of the modules, and in neither case is the module 100% exam assessed. As well as the assessed field placements, we also think it's really important and fun to get out into the landscape and out into the world as often as possible. So here, for example, are the current second and third year students somewhere in a field in Wiltshire in February, and we try and make sure that these trips are accessible to everybody. This one was a no-cost option, which took us down to Wiltshire for 2 days to look at important archaeological sites down there. Now, I've talked a bit about how we try and build your skills and support you building your skills over the course of the degree. We have various specific systems within the Archaeology and Anthropology department to help with that. Everybody gets an academic advisor, a member of staff who is their personal mentor who they can go and see, and we will actually call you in for meetings with your academic advisor on a fairly regular basis to keep an eye on how you're doing and offer you advice, check up on you. We also run for the first years weekly peer-assisted study support sessions where experienced undergraduates are available. So 2 experienced undergraduates to a group of about 8 or 9 first-year students who will then mentor them, take them through some little exercises, give them some advice, and often in a lot of ways the advice that is given by recently completed students is more relevant to the first years than it is advice that they're getting from a member of staff. Now I'd like to introduce you to some of our current and former students. So this, for example, is Adam, who's currently in the 3rd year, who came to us as a mature student, transferred from a different degree, but has become so enthused by archaeology and anthropology that he's planning to return to study for an MSc here next year. This is Miranda, who graduated last summer and has since got a graduate trainee job with Oxford Archaeology, one of the large commercial companies that work in archaeology in Britain. This is Joe, another recent graduate in a cave in California with Dave Robinson, working as part of a university internship, a 10-week funded internship that Joe was awarded to help record Native American basketry. In this section of the talk, I wanted to introduce some of the places that a degree in archaeology and anthropology might take you in terms of opportunities beyond graduation. Obviously, as with many academic subjects, there's opportunities to go further study, either MSc studies in archaeology, in physical or in cultural anthropology, depending on which area most interests you, and that ultimately might lead on to something like PhD research or to work in various academic settings. But there are also many career paths and opportunities which draw on the skills that you would pick up on this degree. There is a world of professional archaeology out there, which I'm going to talk about in a bit more detail in a second, and that draws on skills that you might need from both the archaeology and the osteology, the physical anthropology side of the degree. The cultural anthropology side of the degree is also something which is very much in demand by people working in what we might call organisational culture. So looking at things like change management, looking at things like how people work within large organisations, and that's a growing area of work as well. Obviously, both areas have great relevance for many careers in museums and heritage sector, but we also find that quite a substantial number of our graduates, although they're interested in the subject, use it to go on for different wider graduate opportunities as well. In the UK, planning law means that developers, people who are building things like road schemes, housing estates or large energy projects, need to pay for the archaeology that's being destroyed by that process to be properly recorded. And that involves large numbers of professional archaeologists and physical anthropologists looking at things like human remains or archaeological remains that are destroyed, that would potentially be destroyed in the event of development. And this figure from Landward Research just shows the number of people employed in that world. And you can see that recently, with large infrastructure projects coming through, in the last few years, that number has increased significantly and is projected to increase further as numbers of new infrastructure projects continue. And even in the current very unusual circumstances, these large infrastructure projects are still going ahead and people are still being recruited into this world. The firms that carry out this work employ numbers of our graduates. We also have good contacts with many of them. Some of us used to work for those firms, and we keep those contacts going, so there's lots of overlap, and we get these people in to talk to the students, and we work on with these people on various projects that students are involved in as well. If you decide you want to join us, here's the information that you would need about things like fees and, importantly, our typical UCAS offer. And notice the really important thing here is that we offer a flexible admissions policy. So we read everybody's personal statement. We will be in touch with people. We will discuss things with them. We're interested in what people have done previously in their lives. We're interested in applications for people with non-standard qualifications and mature students. What we're really looking for is a passion for the subject and an ability to do well. We just need to see that you are going to be able to benefit from a university education. And all of these details are on the university website. You'll also see that there's a university-wide financial bursary available too, which I put details of there. You can email me directly on rpeterson@uclan.ac.uk and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.